Hi, the Smart Drivers talking to you tonight about aggression and road rage, dealing with horn honkers and other goofy people that give you all kinds of hand gestures telling you you're number one and telling you that you did something wrong in their their perception of the road rules and traffic culture and all those types of things. So we're going to try and help you out to focus on what you're doing to be a safer, smarter driver. All right, social driving. We talked about social driving. Driving is a social activity. You are participating in driving. You are participating in driving with other people who are all encased in these metal boxes. And the basic premise of social driving is hurry up and go. Me first, you're in my way. It's kind of you against the rest of the drivers, pedestrians, and all other people who are vying for road space when you're driving. Peer pressure to hurry up and go is real. It is very, very much a part of driving. And part of learning to drive is to ignore others and focus on what you're doing, because other people are going to honk at you. They're going to give you dirty looks. They are going to tell you that you are number one. So focus on what you're doing and be safe. Many new drivers make mistakes because they feel the pressure of other drivers to hurry up and go. They misjudge the gap, mostly on left-hand turns, and they get T-boned because they felt the social pressure to hurry up and go. So driving is a social activity, and even though it doesn't feel like it, you're interacting with other people, as it says down in the bottom there. The driving task, what you're up against when you're driving, the things that change all the time: drivers, vehicle, traffic, road, light, and weather. These 6 factors are constantly changing when you're driving. And some years ago, when I first started the online YouTube channel, I was approached by a company that was going to retrofit vehicles back to 2012 to be autonomous vehicles. And I kind of thought about it, gave it some time, and I came up with the idea that, not the idea, but I came up with the realization that there was no way that they were going to be able to do it, because you could take a section of roadway and at any given time, on any given day, the combination of vehicles and combination of drivers and road users is going to be different every second of the day, and you can in no way replicate that. But that has not stopped all of these companies from investing a huge amount of research and development into creating autonomous vehicles. But there's a video here on the channel. If you want to look at it, it's older now, and I probably need to redo it, about the fact that we probably will not see autonomous vehicles in this century, maybe in 2022, but not in our lifetime. All right, angry drivers, what annoys you when you're driving? And the number one thing, according to a poll I put up on the Smart Drive Test website, was tailgaters. Even more so than being cut off or drivers who speed and those merging in front of you. Most people are annoyed by tailgating, and this goes back to what I was talking about, the video about managing space around your vehicle, and Corey's put the link up there in the comments. Thank you for that, Corey. That the number one crash in the United States, North America, and in the world, for that matter, I would pause as a professional opinion, is that tailgating. People are following too close to the traffic in front of them. Somebody brake checks them or stops or comes to a slowdown, and they rear end the vehicle in front of them. Rear end crashes are the number one crashes in North America. So it's also the number one thing that annoys people and leads to road rage and aggression on our roadways. Minor incidents of road rage: horn honking, hand gestures, flashing the lights, yelling, and idle threats. You know, we all do that. You know, oh my God, you're such an idiot. Where'd you get your license? Did you get your license out of the bottom of a Cracker Jack box? All that stuff, you know, waving our hands in the air maniacally, telling the other person what we think of them and saying something bad about their mother. These are minor threats. And then types of major threats: using the vehicle as a weapon, driving into motorcycles, driving into cyclists, cutting them off, following you home, brake checking you at high speeds. And we see these incidents as we get more and more dash cams into vehicles. Cars, especially in front of tractor trailers and semi trucks, pulling in front of them and then laying on the brakes. And oftentimes it does not end well for the car. Physical violence, if you know, leads to both vehicles getting off on the side of the road, and both participants get out of the vehicle, and then they start having a fisticuff there right on the side of the road. Can happen as well. So, strategies to deal with road rage. Most people, when they're angry, can only stay angry for a couple of minutes. So do not engage. Do not take pictures of the person. Don't pull out your phone and say, "Oh, I'm going to call the police." Don't take pictures of the person. Do not roll down your windows. Do not get out of the vehicle. Do not unlock the doors. Okay? They can only stay mad for a couple of minutes, so they will calm down. After they calm down, they get out of your way, because some of these people will stand in front of your vehicle to prevent you from leaving. And like I said, after a couple of minutes, they're going to calm down. They're going to swear at you. They're going to say something bad about your mother, and then they're going to get back in their vehicle and they're going to drive off. Now, if that doesn't happen, do not drive home if the other vehicle is following you. Drive to a public place, a mall where there's lots of people. Go into some place where there's lots of people, and you can call the police, or drive to a police station or another public building where you know there are cameras and those types of things. Keep yourself safe. Do not let the person get you alone, because it could end in tragedy if you go somewhere where they can get a hold of you. Now, let them have their crash somewhere else. The person may cut you off and not even know it, and we've had lots of people do that, where they move into the space in front of you, they cut you off, those types of things. Just let them go and have their crash somewhere else. And then, of course, we have the safety for all drivers out there, and you just go on Twitter and sign up to some of the Traffic Safety Authority channels and those types of things. They don't call them channels on Twitter. They call them something else. But anyway, pay attention to your driving. And the other thing is, you don't know who is in the other vehicle. Okay? This is the thing. I mean, you know, it's like my girlfriend Tracy. Says things at other people and whatnot, and she's like, 130 pounds and 5'6", and and a guy could get out of the other car and he's 230 pounds and those types of things. You just don't know who you're dealing with in the other vehicle. So always best to let them go and have their crash somewhere else. So good luck on your driver's test, and remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Get back over here. We want to talk about road rage because it is something very real on our roadways. I mean, you just go on Facebook or Twitter or any of those other social media platforms, and you can find all kinds of people who are road raging, ripping mirrors off vehicles. Tends to be cyclists and cars for the most part, motorcycle riders and cars, and a lot of crashes. So it's a good idea to maintain your calm, maintain your focus, and not engage with the other person, because you will end up in a crash. And on another incident of road rage, Brampton, Ontario, Canada, a driver failed his driver's test and then raged in the parking lot, missing some pedestrians and doing donuts and those types of things. But fortunately, the police were called. The man was arrested and charged with dangerous driving. Also, he had his vehicle impounded, so not a good start to getting your driver's license there in the province of Ontario, Canada. Elevator fan, I have my CT scan. Please wish me luck. You're in our prayers for sure. We hope that you're going to do well and everything is going to be good. Woosta. Noah Woosta. Yes, and I can hear it in that New England accent too. It sounds so funny. Sheldon, I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. I'm taking my driving lessons in June in New York City. Awesome. So if you're living in Baltimore, Sheldon, why are you going to New York City to take driving lessons? Interesting question there. Awesome. So road rage, we're talking about all of that. We're talking about road safety and all of those interesting things that come across Twitter. It's interesting when people put little bits of information out there and they don't give you the whole picture, or, the way that, marketing and everything else happens on social media and all of these platforms out there with spinning things in a certain direction so that we get a certain perspective on them. I mean, we can certainly see that with the gun debate in the United States of America right now, and it's very unfortunate, and our prayers are with those people in the States. Just another awful shooting in a school there in the United States. So let's talk about driving. Let's talk about passing a driver's test, let's talk about keeping ourselves safe on the roadway and focusing on what we're doing when we're driving to keep ourselves safe and keep other people safe, because the definition of a smarter, safer driver is not just looking after yourself. It's kind of me against everybody else, but that's the way that it feels like in the arena of social driving, because driving is a social activity and we are participating in that social activity. And you need to know that there are a set of road rules, there are a set of, driving within a culture, and there's also some rules that are not in the driver's handbooks, and you're only going to figure these out after you get driving. For example, four-way stop sign intersections. I mean, the number of videos that are here on the internet, social media, on YouTube about, oh, if you know the first person to arrive, and if it's not you, then the car on the right. Nobody ever figures out which car it is on the right. It's simply a culture of who arrives first, straight through overturning, and right turning vehicles over left turning vehicles. If you can keep those basic, simple right-of-way rules in mind, it's really going to help you out when you're dealing with four-way stop sign intersections, because nobody's going to sit there and figure out who the vehicle on the right is and let the other people go. Everybody is in a hurry, and social driving is based on the premise of me first, and that's what it is. And if you can keep that in mind, that everybody's thinking about me first, you're going to be a safer, smarter driver, and you're going to reduce the number of road rage incidents that you're in. Sheldon says, because I'm really from New York City, I did move to Baltimore 3 years ago. Okay, so it's going to be easier for you if you're originally from New York City to go there and learn how to drive. Tyler, I drop my own road rage when I'm driving. I think we all do. We all kind of like, what is that person doing? Oh my God, could you drive any slower? That's one that comes out of my mouth, because I mean, we have 27th Street here where I live in Vernon, and I call it 27 kilometers an hour, which is about 18 miles an hour. People just, for whatever reason, cannot do this posted speed limit on that street, and it just absolutely drives me crazy. Saketa, oh my God, thank you so much for your helpful videos. Aloha from Hawaii, and you are most welcome, my friend. So happy to hear that we can help out. Deaconess, it's so annoying when people use their horns because they're impatient. The horn is for emergency stuff only. That's a deaf person as myself that runs my anxiety to the roof. And yes, it does. In North America, the horn is not seen as a sign of communication as it is in other parts of the world. And I have had people come back and say that to me, that the horn is a sign of communication. Yes, maybe a little beep or a little beep beep. Hey, maybe you can get going, you can get off your phone, the light turned green, and we can all go here. In other parts of the world, yes, it is part of communication, but here in North America, it's seen as a sign of aggression, so use your horn sparingly. Jake, after many years of driving, I've learned that it's Swifty last, me not far ahead, and the livestock guys way up over yonder. Yes, the bull haulers, the livestock trucks, the CDL trucks are always going to be first. And the reason for that, Jake, is because they've got a certain amount of time. I think it's 30 hours. I might be wrong on that. One of the other smart drivers might know now or on the replay. Livestock haulers, if they don't get to their destination within 30 hours, then they have to stop at a yard, the specific places. They have to unload all the livestock, they have to feed and water them, and then they have to reload them back on the truck. And they don't want to do that. That's why they are hauling bulls for, and that's why they're going. So, yeah. Jose, thank you for access captions for deaf friendly, and you are most welcome, my friend. So happy that we can help out. Marion, my issue is when the speed limit is 30, but people are right on my bumper. They don't like being slowed down. Yes, tailgaters, and you're going to see here in the presentation that tailgaters are the #1 pet peeve of drivers. Mallory, some people don't even know the meaning of a four-way stop sign, and that is true. Yes, they do not. Many people do not know the road rules when they're driving, and they certainly don't know how to navigate roundabouts here in North America, that's for sure. Greenbrier, my version of rage is someone gives the idiot a ticket or for no lights on their trailer already. Greenbrier, yes, people pulling trailers. I would say that people pulling utility trailers, boat trailers, camper trailers, all those types of things, they don't do a pre-trip inspection on their vehicle. And second, half the lights don't work on these vehicles, especially if the trailer is older than 10 years. The lights simply don't work. They don't do a pre-trip inspection on it when they hook it up, and they simply don't maintain it. So yeah, people pulling trailers know that most of the time that the lights on the trailer are not going to work. Alderbidji, most times when I am driving at the posted speed limit, vehicles tailgate me and it gets me edgy. And yes, people are going to do that. If you are driving the posted speed limit, people are going to want to drive the traffic flow, and they are going to be tailgating you to tell you to go faster, because that's what it means when they're tailgating you. They're indicating to you that you are driving too slow according to their perception of driving, and they sit right on your bumper to get you to try and go faster, which usually isn't what happens. If a driver is tailgating to tell the driver in front to go faster, the driver in front often retaliates by slowing down to tell the driver behind them that they're following too close. So it's this kind of chicken and egg thing. Which came first, the tailgater or the tailgatee? Yes. Mama's, our daughter got her permit this month. I've been teaching her myself. We watch her videos together and help me teach her. She already goes over the Rockland County, New York. Thank you, and you are most welcome. Magnets on the back of the car. Also, we are learning to ignore the honks in congested New York. And yes, I just got back from some driver training in February in Maryland, and just coming to a complete stop at stop sign intersections, we get honked at incessantly, like all the time. Other drivers were honking at us because we were coming to a complete stop at stop sign intersections. And it's not just me, this is other driving instructors as well, and other traffic authorities have said that, you know, all these stop signs in residential areas should just be replaced with yield signs, because nobody stops anyway. You know, you can stand at a stop sign intersection for hours and you will see maybe one, maybe two cars come to a stop, especially, you know, if they're giving way to other traffic in the intersection. But for the most part, they're not coming to a stop. Noah, there's a subreddit, Idiots in Cars, where you can see how people get into accidents because of road rage and other things. Yes, subreddit, road rage. And yes, and there's a lot of that on Facebook and a lot of that on Twitter and whatnot. I definitely see a lot of it because I'm subscribed to a lot of those channels and whatnot. And you definitely get on some of the truck driving forums and whatnot. There's a lot of that information there as well. Mallory, some people don't even know about traffic lights. Yes. Jake, I was driving 4 hours with my second trailer lights out. Depending on trailers and mirrors, you may not see they're out. Someone called me out on the CB, pulled right over. Yeah, and that's different, Jake, that you pulled up and you picked up a new trailer, the lights went out while you're driving. I mean, that sort of thing's going to happen. I mean, that's not something that is your fault. I know that when you go and pick up a trailer, like any other professional CDL driver, you hook onto a new trailer, you're going to turn the lights on, you're going to get around, you're going to check the brakes, check the tires, make sure you don't have any flat tires and lights and things like that. But like you said, the lights were out as soon as you knew or discovered that the lights were out. You pulled over, checked the lights. I mean, sometimes it's just a connection. You give it a wiggle and away the lights go again, right? And those types of things. So, you know, we got a headlight out on as a CDL driver. We got the screwdriver out and we're changing the light bulb. We've got an extra one in the vehicle and whatnot. I'm talking about, you know, people hauling horse trailers, boat trailers, utility trailers, those types of things. Most of these people do not do a pre-trip inspection, and most of them, she'll be right. Let's get her going, right? Same thing, we have the dump up on top of the hill there. You go out on the highway, there's all kinds of garbage and whatnot out on the roadways because people do not tarp their loads either, right? She'll be right. We'll get to the dump, and they just get rid of it, right? So it's unfortunate. Rebecca, in Virginia, it is considered running a stop sign unless you stop for at least 5 seconds. Rebecca, who gave you that information? Because 5 seconds is a long time to sit at an intersection, at a stop sign intersection. Greenbrier, there were only 2 cars in Minnesota or some other northern U.S. state in the early 20th century, and they somehow found each other and crashed. Greenbrier, that is not surprising. My PhD dissertation was on early traffic, and you know, same incident. Lots of these cars, they would be out there. There'd be two cars and they would crash. Same thing. I was in where was I? Australia. And I was on the beaches in Queensland, and I asked one of the natives who lived there, and I said, why are there speed limits on the beach? And he said to me that the locals get out there, they party on the beach, and then they start driving up and down the beach, and they crash into each other. There's only two of them, but somehow they manage to crash into each other. David, stop, slightly tap on pedal. That's how some people treat stop signs these days. Indeed. Okay, in General Assembly, they said 5 seconds. Rebecca, 5 seconds is a long time. Try that sometime, and I'll let you know, because when I teach students to come to a complete stop at stop sign intersections, a lot of new drivers have difficulty with complete stops at stop sign intersections until they get used to the vehicle. And what I tell them is that after they think they've stopped, count to 2, 1, 2, and then go, because many of them will not come to a complete stop. So yeah, 5 seconds is a really long time to stop at a stop sign intersection. Mamaz, Marion got them from Walmart online, free shipping. We have ones on both sides of the car, so she's talking about the please be patient new driver, and also one that says please be patient. Awesome. Okay, elevator, I've seen drivers honk the horn when someone cuts them off. Yes, they do that as well. And Rebecca, Greenbrier argue with the senators. I'm just relaying what they said. I was shocked, just as you are. Okay, so maybe we can look that up and get that a source, because if that's what they're saying in the General Assembly, that will be public information somewhere that we will have access to and be able to get that information. So, and we can talk more about road rage incidents. I have had a number of road rage incidents over my time in my career as driving, and I'm sure that you, as you get more experience in driving and more time behind the wheel, you too are going to have road rage incidents. Many of my road rage incidents over the course of my life have often been on my bicycle. When I'm riding my bicycle, I get other cars and whatnot doing all kinds of goofy things because for whatever reason, car drivers do not like cyclists, and that is apparent. And if you are riding your bicycle in traffic, I do encourage you, I don't encourage you, I counsel you strongly with every inch of my being, do not wear headphones while you're riding your bicycle, because sound is so important to keeping yourself safe when you're riding a bicycle in traffic. It is just the most important sense next to your ability to see, because lots of times what's going to happen when you're driving is that you're going to hear somebody come up behind you, and you're going to be able to hear them before you see them. So know that. Miguel, I'm a driver with license, probationary care of this. Awesome. Happy to hear we can help out. Pierce, sure, wish me luck and all best if I can. Excuse or okay. Greenbrier, if I can get it on the road again, I'll use to get to work. Better to have a truck handy in case it's needed to do something than not. Awesome. Okay, Fred, I passed my license. We got lobster tail to celebrate, so there's still hope out there for older people to get their license, and that is awesome news, Fred. Thank you so much for dropping back and letting us know. Lobster tail sounds like an incredible celebration for getting your license. Congratulations on that. That is really, really terrific news, my friend. Midnight the other day when I was driving, I was waiting for traffic at a left-hand turn, and I got honked at from the car behind because I didn't go because I felt the gap wasn't large enough. And midnight, better to get honked at than to get T-boned. You did the right thing. If you don't feel that the gap is sufficient, don't go, because the peer pressure is very real when you're driving. And, you know, you want to keep yourself safe. You don't want to go until you feel comfortable, until you feel that that gap is sufficient for you to make that turn safely. So, yes, you did the right thing. Greenbrier, bicycle riders should use bone conduct headsets. Keep the ears open to the surroundings. I'm not sure what kind of headsets those are, Greenbrier. I've never actually heard of them before. But I'll definitely check into that. But me personally, I would never wear headsets. I wouldn't wear anything that obstructed my hearing. I don't want to listen to anything except the traffic and my own breathing when I'm riding a bicycle, because I've done some bicycle tours. I've done a bicycle tour in Tasmania, Scotland, Newfoundland and Cape Breton Island, and I have, touch wood, I've kept myself pretty safe. But I have been run into, I've been doored, and all those types of things. So I've been lucky. I'm still alive after all these years of riding my bicycle. Aim, Rick is the absolute GOAT. Thank you for everything you do, man. Seriously, and you are most welcome, my friend. So happy that we can help out, and thank you for your kind words. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the amazing videos you post on this channel. I never believed that I could get my license before your videos, and thank you so much for stopping back and letting us know that you passed first time and we were able to help out. That is truly awesome, my friend. Thank you so much. Awesome. Excellent. Pierce, social driving. No, social driving is a social activity, and you are getting along with a bunch of other people, whether they're in cars, on bicycles, driving big trucks, pedestrians, people on scooters, skaters, snowmobiles, motorcycle riders. There are a lot of people out there on the roadways, and you are working to get along with the other people according to a set of rules, according to a set of culture, and according to perceived ideas about what is good driving and what isn't good driving. So know that for the purposes of driving, and know that it is a social activity, and therefore I call it social driving. The premise of social driving is me first. Okay, I want to get there first. It's me against everybody else, and sometimes it can feel like that. Miguel, can I horn when I'm getting close to a bicycle rider? Miguel, it's preferred that you can get 3 feet of space. So think of you going past the bicycle rider and there's a person standing between you and the cyclist. My preference is that you don't honk to alert cyclists. Maybe if you just like a quick beep on the horn just to let them know that you're there, which is good because, as I said, a lot of cyclists are wearing headphones and other things that obstruct their hearing. Many cyclists, myself included, it scares the crap out of me when somebody honks the horn at me. I do appreciate if they're trying to warn me that they're there, but for the most part, it scares me and startles me, and I don't like it when other drivers honk their horn at me when I'm riding my bicycle. Mamaz, further, because a woman was walking in the area right in front of our car with her grocery cart. A car behind us at the stop sign laid on the horn, but our daughter just waited until the woman passed. After we parked, the woman drove past us as we got out of our car after our daughter parked. Yeah, and unfortunately, people are going to do that. The woman rolled down her window and looked at our daughter and said, "You are great, dear. Just don't let anyone scare you on the road and you will do just fine." She smiled and safely drove away. Awesome. So that's good that your daughter's doing the right thing, focusing on what she is doing and not getting pressured by other people on the roadway, because it happens a lot that we get pressured by what other people are doing. We get pressured by the perception that we think that we need to go faster. So that's great. Kevin, sorry, but I needed to get to the Cal before last orders. Yeah, okay. Midnight, thanks. It was Saturday and traffic was pretty heavy, so I feel like people were just in a rush. I still have my permit, so lessons like that have helped me out. Awesome. Way around, take the way around instead of sitting at the light forever. Yes, and sometimes that will happen, especially later in the evening. You'll be sitting at a traffic light for a very long time and you're like, oh my God, I'm wasting my life sitting at a traffic light. If you don't want to sit there, make the right, find another way around, those types of things. Also, the other thing is, if you're not sitting directly behind the stop line, or not the stop line, the light won't change because there's actually a sensor in the roadway and you have to have your vehicle close to that sensor for it to be activated. Otherwise, it won't trip the light for the light to change. So know that there are sensors and you have to get your vehicle near the sensor to get the light to change. Elevator fan, never seen anybody honk their horn or flash their headlights at left lane squatters. Elevator, you need to come here. Yes, we honk our horns and we flash our lights at left lane squatters. And if you drive in Europe, they will definitely honk at you and they will definitely flash their lights to tell you to get out of the left lane there. So do not drive in the left lane. You will incur road rage on some parts because you're simply holding up traffic. And every state as a sign that says slower traffic, keep right. And most drivers think that's a suggestion because they think they have the right to sit in that left-hand lane. And, you know, I was teaching a course, a driver safety course, and one of the people said to me in the course that, you know, I sit in the left lane. It's my right. I can sit in the left lane. And that's what a lot of people think. They think that they can just sit in the left lane. They are not participating in social driving to the benefit of others. It's me first. I have the right to sit in the left lane, and I just drive in the left lane. Now, I drive in the left lane a lot, but I'm always watching the mirror behind me, and I simply move over to the right lane when other traffic is coming up behind me. But most of the time, I'm keeping up with the traffic flow, and you know, most other people are doing whatever. And the other thing that really annoys me out on the highway is many people, more than half the people, don't use cruise control, and so their speed is not constant. They're up and they're down, and they're up and they're down, and they're up and they're down. They're, you know, 50, 55 miles an hour, 65 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour, 55. They can't keep a constant speed, and you simply can't. I don't know anybody who can keep a constant speed. So if you want to become a safer, smarter driver on the highway, learn to use cruise control. Okay, you will be a safer, smarter driver because it eliminates one of the distractions out on the highways. You don't have to monitor your speed, and cruise control will do that. As well, you'll get better fuel economy because your vehicle is running at a constant speed, and electronic engines, which all modern vehicles have in the last 25 years. The old 1998 Honda CR-V that I have, the old buggy, is a electronic fuel injected engine. All vehicles are electronic fuel injected. They are specifically designed to get the best fuel economy running on cruise control. And as I said, the other benefit of that is that you don't have to monitor your speed all the time. You know how fast you're going, and it's less likely that you're going to get a speeding ticket because you're on cruise control and you just set your cruise control either at the posted speed limit or, you know, 5 miles an hour over the posted speed limit and drive, and you're going to be fine. Stay in the right-hand lane. Marion, can you explain how to use my cruise control on my Honda HR-V, please? What year, Marion, is your HR-V? I think you said it was a 2017, if I'm not correct. You may have adaptive cruise control on that. Corey put up the video on how to use your vehicle's cruise control. You can have a look at that, Marion, and then come back to me any questions. I mean, basically, it's pretty simple to use. It's just get it up to speed, hit the set button. It'll set at that speed limit, and then so for example, you come up to a traffic light and you stop, you get going again, and then you just hit resume, and it'll go back to that speed again. Those are the fundamentals of what you need to do for your cruise control. Now, those of you who have newer cars and have adaptive cruise on them, this is even better because now you can set the following distance at 2 seconds, 4 seconds, or 6 seconds, depending on your comfort level. For most of you, I would recommend setting it at 4 seconds, following distance behind the traffic in front of you on your adaptive cruise control, and then you don't even have to touch it. And the other piece, if you've got a newer vehicle and you have lane assist and adaptive cruise control, you basically, the car will more or less, as close as you can get, drive itself with the lane assist and the adaptive cruise control. You basically don't really have to do much at all. But and the other piece, Marion, that I'll add to that in terms of the cruise control, your HR-V probably has a cancel button. It's probably a circle with a button in the middle. That's the cancel button, and then it's resume on the top and it's set on the bottom. Just get used to hovering your thumb over the cancel button for anybody who wants to learn how to use cruise control, because a lot of people aren't really comfortable with cruise control because it's the same speed going around corners and all those types of things. So just get used to canceling it, okay? For me, on the old buggy, it's a 5-speed manual transmission with a clutch, and if you just touch the clutch, it'll disengage the cruise control as well. And if you use the brake, if you touch the brake, it will automatically disengage cruise control as well. Now, using the brake is not the best way to get cruise off because, you know, it just, if you're driving in the rain And, despite what a lot of people say, you can use cruise control in the wintertime. You can use it in the rain, okay? If it's torrential downpour, no, don't use your cruise control. But if it's raining lightly, yes, you can use your cruise control so long as you have good tires on your vehicle, right? And most of us, we hope, 50%, according to the poll I ran on the weekend, 50% of people maintain their vehicles and have good tires on their vehicle. If you have good tires on your vehicle, then yes, you can use cruise control when it's raining. Okay? But hitting the brake is not the best way to disengage your cruise control. Get used to using that cancel button. If you've got a manual transmission, then you just touch the clutch, and that's the best way to disengage the cruise control on your car. Okay? Yes, so all vehicles, as Marion just said, you just touch the brake and it will disengage the cruise control. But that's not your best driving habit. Your best driving habit is to use that cancel button, and then the vehicle will just freewheel, and there's no possibility that the wheels will lock up on you, okay? Reggie, so when doing parallel park and pulling into a parking space, you squeeze your brakes, correct? You do apply the foot brake, Reggie. When you park the car, you get it into the space, and then after you apply the foot brake, then you apply the parking brake, okay? For those of you taking a driver's test, every time you park the vehicle, you have to apply the parking brake. Now, if you have a newer vehicle, 2018 or above, you can program the vehicle so that it will apply the parking brake automatically, okay? If you have a newer vehicle, it will do that. Now, if you have an older vehicle, make sure that you apply the parking brake. Now, I know there's a lot of people out there, naysayers and those types of things, people watching on the replay or whatnot. Oh, you don't have to apply the parking brake and those types of things. Yes, you do, because all the smart engineers in the world would not make the parking brake apply automatically if the transmission was meant to hold the vehicle. The automatic transmission is not meant to hold the vehicle. The parking brake is meant to hold the vehicle in a parked position indefinitely. So get in the habit of applying the parking brake every time that you park your vehicle. When you're parallel parking, parking in a parking lot, those types of things, just get in that habit. Automatic or manual transmission, apply the parking brake every time you park the vehicle. That way, it'll still be there when you come back to get back in your vehicle and go home. Okay? Greenbrier, if a vehicle has been sitting for a while, it needs new tires because dry rot can hurt more than a puncture. Greenbrier, on modern tires in the last 20 years, that vehicle would have to be sitting there for 4 or 5 years before the dry rot would set in on newer tires. That's something from the old days when they used to put them up on blocks when they stored them and those types of things, because yes, you would get a lot of dry rot and those types of things. But in this day and age, tires would have to be there for a long time before they experienced dry rot. Elevator, I'll also watch the mirror behind me so that if someone comes up behind me, I can get out of the way and not get passed on the right, because I like hanging out in the left lane. Yes, and that's great. Awesome. David, speeding is actually safer than not speeding when passing on a 2-lane highway when permitting, because you have to get out of the oncoming traffic lane after passing as quick as possible. And David, I would agree with you that you want to get past the vehicle as long, because exactly what you just said, you want to reduce the amount of time that you're in that other lane with oncoming traffic. And I know that all the handbooks say you can't exceed the posted speed limit. That's great for a driver's test. But in the real world, if you're passing cars on opposing lanes of traffic, then you need to get out in that other lane. You need to get your foot in the throttle, and you need to get it going and minimize the amount of time that you're out there so that you can maintain your safety. Thank you, Marion, for that. Yes, I tell people that who are starting YouTube channels and want to have a YouTube channel that, there's lots of people doing what you're doing, whatever you want to do. And here's a perfect example of that. My son got a puzzle for Christmas, and they were putting it together and whatnot. And we thought, oh, maybe there's a puzzle channel on YouTube. We can have a look at how to, strategies and those types of things to do puzzles. The woman that we came across had 200,000 subscribers on a puzzle channel. So there are, you want to start a YouTube channel, there you can do it in any topic that you can possibly imagine or possibly think of. And people do not come to a live stream on a traffic safety because, there's lots of people doing it. Maybe I'm the only person doing live streams on driving. I don't know. Maybe I am. But, people come to see you really in the end. And, I'm glad that you appreciate my chuckle because, sometimes it's interesting that, people come to see me. People come to every week. I get 60 or 70 people on a live stream, which just amazes me to no end. And I can help people answering their questions. And I think that's great. Reggie, so when doing the maneuver like parking, etc., you squeeze brakes instead of accelerator. That's what I was meaning. Oh, okay. Okay, so controlling the speed when you're going into the space. It depends on the vehicle that you have and whether you're on an uphill or a downhill, whether the vehicle is going to roll by itself. Now, you may have to use the throttle, but you may also have to use the brake as well. And what I would suggest to you is work in a parking lot first. Park in the spaces in a parking lot first, and then kind of get a feel for the vehicle, get a feel for the steering wheel, get a, and the accelerator and the brake. See how that goes. Do that first before you head out on the roadway and try your parallel parking, and you'll have a better feel of the vehicle before you go out on the roadway and do what you need to do there. Midnight, hey Rick, do you have any tips on driving through curves? I feel like I can lose control while driving through them. Yes, I do, Midnight, and actually I have a whole video on that, on driving through curves and on highways better. One of the things you want to do it's going against natural tendency of what happens when you go through a curve. Most of the time when we go through a curve, our inclination and the feel of the vehicle is to take the shortest line, which is usually the inside of the curve. You don't want to take the inside of the curve. You want to try and take the outside of the curve so that you can, what's called, straighten out the curve. You want to go as far through the curve as you can. And what you want to do is you want to try to stay to the outside of the curve as opposed to the inside of the curve. And it's going to be easier on your vehicle. Now, of course, all of this has to do with appropriate speed. Saying that with appropriate speed on navigating curves is that you want to slow down before the curve and you want to be powering through the curve. Now, that doesn't mean you want to be accelerating, but it means that you want to have power to the wheels, to the drive line, so that you can pull or push your vehicle through the curve. Now, most vehicles in this day and age are going to be front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive, and you're going to be pulling the vehicle through the curve. So you want power to the wheels. That's going to give you more control as you're moving through the curve and navigating. So that's what you need to do when you're moving through curves. And as well, you want to try and straighten out the curves. So you want to start on the top side, down to the middle on the bottom, and then out to the top side on the other side. So if you want to know more about that and how to do that, watch NASCAR. So they're making a left turn. They're making a left turn. They're making a left turn. That's what they do in NASCAR, right? But when they make the left turn, they come top side, down to the bottom of the curve, and then they go back up to the top side on the other side. They're straightening out the curve. And that's what you want to try and do when you're navigating curves, when you're driving. Elevator fan, is unnecessary use of the horn a sign of aggression? It absolutely is, especially in North America. You want to try and reduce the use of horns when you're driving. Mallory, you're an inspiration to all people who are learning how to drive. I've learned a lot from your channel, even though I'm a smart passenger. And thank you so much for your kind words, Mallory. It's always appreciated. Marion, oh, that's a good question. I have had that happen. How to drive curvy roads and maintain better control. And the road that I do that on is incredibly curvy. It's actually the ski hill from Vernon up to Silver Star Ski Resort. And that is a very, very curvy up and down mountainous road. And there's actually 2 switchbacks on that. For those of you who don't know what switchbacks are, when the hill is too steep to actually drive a road straight up it, what they'll do is they'll zigzag the road up the side of the mountain so that they can make it negotiable with the vehicles, and it's called a switchback. So you go up and then you switch back and go up this way, and then you switch back and go up this way. So we have those here in British Columbia, and I'm sure they have them in the western states as well. Ryan says that no one stops at stop signs and annoys him. Unfortunately, that is one thing that you're just going to have to get used to, Ryan, because nobody anywhere stops completely at a stop sign intersection. As I was saying earlier in the live stream, when I was training in Maryland, we were actually getting honked at for stopping at stop sign intersections. So know that when you're driving. That if you do in fact stop at a stop sign intersection, other people may honk at you for not getting up and going. Because remember, me first, you're in my way, and I need to get going faster to get to wherever I'm going to, sit in front of the television when I get home. Fred, so I drove for the first time myself. It felt weird and cool at the same time. Funny because I'm like waiting for someone to tell me to turn left or turn right. I'm like free. And yes, Fred, and that's a perfect way of saying that, because when I used to teach truck driving, it was the same thing. Turn left, turn right, go straight, turn left, turn right, back in here, do this, do that. But then all of a sudden, now they go out and they get a job, and dispatch hands them a set of paperwork, and they say, okay, load needs to be here at here in such a time, and they give them an address, and it's like, happy trails. There you go, have fun, get her there by yourself. And then you got to figure out where you got to get the trailer into the door, or where you got to park the trailer so it can be unloaded, and those types of things. And then you got to find the next, and it's just like most drivers are completely and utterly unprepared for that when they start a career as a truck or bus driver, about how to get from point A to point B. And one of my favorite questions always asked truck drivers when I was training them was, I would be in the truck and be driving along and having a conversation, and I would say to them, so what do truck drivers get paid to do? And it seems like a very simple question. What do truck drivers and bus drivers get paid to do? And they'd say to me, oh, they get paid to drive. And I'd be like, well, but I drive my car, I don't get paid for that. And then they'd be like thinking about it some more, and they're like, oh, they deliver freight safely and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, no, they don't. And then finally I would, let them off the hook and ease their anxiety and whatnot about driving. And I would say, truck drivers get paid to deliver freight services and, if you're driving a bus, people from point A to point B as quickly as humanly possible. That's what they get paid to do. That's why you get paid to drive a truck. You are not out there for leisure time or stopping at, the world's largest ball of twine to have a look and have a recreation and those types of things. Truck drivers, bus drivers get paid to move people, freight, and services between point A and point B as quickly as humanly possible. That's what you get paid for as a driver. Jake, and for rookie drivers, please ask for help. I am glad to help. Glad to spot you and your company. Appreciate you're not breaking something important. Yes, and if you're a new CDL driver, exactly what Jake just said. Ask questions, 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 questions. How do I get in here? There were lots of places that I would get into to deliver, especially some of these construction areas and new builds and those types of things. And it'd be like, how do I back in the door? Because they would watch other drivers do it, and they'd say, oh, this driver did this or that driver did this. And then they would, give you some suggestion about how you were going to get your vehicle into that space, right? Because otherwise you're going to break something. As Jake just said, you're going to back into something, you're going to break something, the internet is full of all kinds of faux pas of what CDL drivers have done, pulling the trailers over pylons and those types of things. Marion, did you enjoy your vacation last week? It was happy to see you back again in the live stream tonight. Yes, I did, Marion. I got to Vancouver Island with my friend, and we were there for 3 days, and I was supposed to go and do some work on my rental property, and I was just like, no, we're not going to do work on the rental property. I'm just going to spend some time with my friend. And so we just spent 3 days with my friend, and it was actually really nice. I really enjoyed it. So it was great. Thank you for asking. Natalie, newer to driving, is it right to have the brakes slightly on when making a round turn, like in a dead-end street? Sometimes it slows me too much, but when I don't have it, I feel like the car is too fast. Natalie, yeah, you may need to apply the brake to slow the vehicle down so that you can make the turn at a speed that you're comfortable with and you feel like you have control of the vehicle. The other piece about that is... there was another piece. Yes, the other piece about that is the slower you go, the sharper the vehicle turns. So when you're at a dead end street in a cul-de-sac or those types of things, the slower it goes, the sharper it's going to turn. It's the same thing as many states in the U.S. have U-turn cultures, and if you're going really fast, you may not get around and be able to make that U-turn, but if you slow down, then the vehicle will turn sharper and you'll be able to get around on that turn. Jake, NASCAR racing lines get into emergency vehicle operations here. Our definition of safe is a bit faster than the common definition of safe. Yes, indeed. All right, and pass your driver's test first time. For those of you getting your driver's license, preparing for your driver's license, pass your driver's license first time, guaranteed, over at the Smart Drive Test website. You can pick that course up for about $38 US, and as a bonus, we'll throw in both the defensive driving and winter driving smart courses to keep you safe after you get your license and help you out to be successful as a driver. Spanky, what is the best way to control the accelerator? Use toes, ball of the foot, and press with my toes. Yes, so Spanky, you want to first wear sneakers, comfortable shoes, and put the heel of your foot on the floor, and then just squeeze your toes kind of like this and push down on the accelerator until you get more and more used to it and being comfortable with working the throttle. But kind of squeeze your toes like you're kind of trying to lift a pencil with your toes off the carpet, and that'll help you to control the accelerator. Jake, have a good night. Thank you again, and thank you, my friend, for joining in. It's always great when you show up, my friend. All the best. 1991, I get honked at for not going within 2 seconds of the green light turning green. Yes, and you can basically just scan the intersection and proceed. That's going to happen. It does happen a lot. Greenbrier, if I go to an island, it'll probably be Bermuda, so I can enjoy a day at the beach, then go fishing. Probably internal combustion schooner. Yes. Yes, when I talk about the island, it's Vancouver Island, which is, a rainforest, so it's not always nice weather. It is in the summertime, but when we went down here in March, it was windy and rainy. So, not ideal, but it wasn't terrible either. Con, does basic road test in Canada go to the highways? It depends where you take your driver's test. If the test center is near a highway, then yes, they will take you out on the highway. So it depends on which test center location that you are taking your test as to whether they take you out on the roadway or not. Mallory, do you have any driving stories on your recent trip to Vancouver Island? I don't really, Mallory. There wasn't anything interesting. We went down, and when we drove down, my son wanted to go down the Fraser Canyon, which is about an hour, 90 minutes longer than going down the Coquihalla Highway. And when we down the Fraser Canyon, because we had the rainstorms that we had last year, which is what did they call it? I saw it today. The atmospheric river is what they called it, which is we just had a rainy season. And there was a lot of flooding, and because there was a lot of flooding, bridges got washed out and those types of things. So they were doing construction, and the hour and 90 minutes actually turned into much longer than that. It was more like 2.5 hours longer because we ended up waiting for construction. And actually at one point, we were sitting on the highway waiting for the pilot vehicle to come back. We probably waited 25 minutes. So I left in good time to get down there because we were catching the 9 p.m. ferry over to the island, to Vancouver Island. And I left here at 1 o'clock. It's usually a 5-hour drive from here to the ferry. And I thought, we got lots of time, blah, 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 And so we stopped. Did we stop? Yeah, we stopped at the coffee shop because I had to do something. I had to pay a bill online that I forgot to pay or something. Stopped at the coffee shop, got coffee, and then we're driving down the Fraser Canyon, and I'm looking at the time. I asked my daughter Scout to look it up and see how long it was going to take us to get to the ferry, and I'm like, oh my God, we're just like out of time. We stopped and got fuel, jumped back in the car, and away we went again, and we just like got there at like 8:30 to get on the ferry. It all worked out, but that's the thing about catching ferries and airplanes. You got to leave plenty early because anything can happen, and you just don't know. Now I could have looked up the construction on DriveSmart BC. But I don't, just deal with it when I'm there. I leave in time so that I have a contingency. I have a buffer built in. So if you're doing highway trips, make sure you leave early or check to make sure the construction and those types of things because it happens. You get delayed. Spanky, so you hold your toes in that position for the whole time. Just when you're working the throttle until you get it to the position that it feels comfortable. Once, you know, just do that at the beginning until you get comfortable doing it. And as you get more and more comfortable, then you won't have to do that after a while when you're driving, okay? Fred, when I was doing road tests, I kept saying I got this out loud after each turn and I passed. Y'all got this. Yes, indeed. 4 most powerful words in the English language. I can do this. You're going to be successful on passing your driver's test. Marion, yep, you waited at Boston Bar, right? It's always that spot that people moan about. Yes, I think it was Boston Bar, indeed. Memez, we have been using your term, apply the brakes instead of just brake. Our daughter struggled with knowing how light or heavy to press the brake. When she said apply the brakes, she has got it. Awesome. That is great. That, yeah, language is one of those things that you got to kind of figure out when you're teaching somebody else how to drive. Gustavo, I miss all, but I watch again the recording. Awesome. Greenbrier, if I get a chance while driving around the U.S., I'll drive a steam locomotive so I can get the idea of what it's like to move physical controls instead of fancy switches. Yes, and it sounds great. Awesome. So that's really great. We'll leave it there for tonight. If you passed your driver's test in the last couple of weeks, congratulations on that. That is simply awesome. And if you have a driver's test coming up in the next week or so, good luck on that. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Hey, come here. Come. Yeah. He's not going to come over here. When I was looking down, this is what I was looking at. Puppy. Say hello. This is Striker. He's the new addition to the family here. So, yes, he's a French Bulldog. And everybody thinks that he's like super cute. Super cute. You got to look at the camera right there. See? Right there. Look. You're not really interested, are you? You're not really interested. No. Not really interested. Yes, Smart Drive Puppy. And yeah, Striker came on Family Day. So, and he was born on the 7th of December. So, Striker is, how old are you now? What, 4 months? Yeah? All right. There we go. Excellent. Lawrence, just bought your course. Thanks for all your videos. Lawrence, you are most welcome, my friend. And if anybody has absolutely any questions at all, leave a comment down in the comment section if you're watching now on the live stream or you're watching on the replay. And we'll definitely help you out with your driving, getting your license, becoming a safer, smarter driver, or starting a career as a truck or bus driver. What are you doing? No, you're all done? Okay. All right, everybody. Have an awesome night and all the best. Bye now.